Hello and welcome, this is Oldmanpoole. I'm going to be going through another competitive Dominaria draft today, and I have a slightly different format if you haven't already guessed, that being most of that I'm just not going to show you guys the intro every time. I assume you guys have seen as much of that as you'd like from Arena, even though it is a sweet intro. And I'm going to try and do my best to cut out some of the unnecessary bits between matches, and just try and streamline the whole process just a little bit more for you guys. So let me know what you think about that, certainly, but let's jump right into a draft. Yeah, let's confirm that purchase. Confirm that purchase right now. What do we like about this pack? We like Vicious Offering, we like Fire Fist Adept, and we like Garna, kind of. Garna, I think, is in contention with these other two cards, but because it's a double-colored card, that really does hurt it quite a bit. Vicious Offering's probably better, but I've played the black deck a lot, and I actually haven't played the Wizards deck all that much, so maybe I should try and really shoot for that. Fire Fist Adept is a very good finisher for the Wizards deck. Could definitely be pretty darn solid. I don't know. Vicious Offering's probably just the correct pick. I think I'm just going to take Fire Fist Adept, though. We've been playing this format for a while now, and I played a lot of black decks, so let's see if we can't do something else a little bit sweeter. Ooh, okay, and sweeter we have here. So we've got Quende and Daring Archaeologist, which are both pretty reasonable considerations, I think, here. I actually haven't played the Quende deck. For those of you who are regular viewers of the channel, you'll know that I got my butt handed to be pretty good by two Quendes in a row to end my last draft series. Daring Archaeologist is also quite good. This is a little bit more of a build around than Quende is, even, and Quende is a little bit of one. You really need to get up some, Jousting Lances or some of the Knights of Malice or the like to really be excited about it. I do think it's between those two cards. I think everything else in here is a little bit worse. Academy Drake is pretty darn solid, and I guess fits well with the potential Blue-Red Wizards theme. But I think that realistically it's one of these two higher powered cards. I think I would take Quende. The upside of this card is just really, really high. Daring Archaeologist can be super solid as well, but I think Quende just seems sweet. Ooh, okay, well, interesting choice now. We could take Champion of the Flame and try and go all in on auras and equipment. Fire Intervention might just be better in that deck. There's also Arvad the Cursed, which is quite good with Quende, but would be committing us potentially to another color. Although Fire Fist Adept is not a real big draw for not in Wizards, so if we're going white-red, that's probably a little bit less exciting. I think Champion of Flame is very likely to wheel. I think I'm going to take Arbad here, and maybe shift into a white-black deck. Okay, and there's Baird. That's actually another pretty solid legendary to go along with Arbad. There's also a Jousting Lance here, though, which is great with Quende. Man, I really wish we would have taken that Vicious Offering now. Fire Fist Adept's feeling a little bit silly, but that's okay. I think Jousting Lance is just going to be better than Baird, although, I don't know, with Arbad in the deck, maybe that's just not the case. Yeah, I guess I'm going to take Baird. I hope we have more chances to pick up Jousting Lances. I think this is close. I think I'm less likely to get another Baird down the line, but maybe Jousting Lance is just enough better. Okay, I guess we're going to take Jousting Lance, I think. I think that is kind of close. Okay, well, there's Dub, which can fit in that deck as well. There's also Thallid Soothsayer, which is great in black. Is best when you can make a whole lot of tokens to go along with it, but pretty solid just in general. I think we'll have more chances to get Dub. I also like Invoke the Divine as a sideboard option. I feel like you're very, very happy to have a copy of that. But let's take the Soothsayer at this point. None of these red cards are particularly exciting. Okay, oh, we've got another Jousting Lance. Really should have taken the Baird, probably. Oh well. Sometimes these come around, sometimes they don't, but I'm actually not unhappy to play two, I don't think, in a Quende-style deck. Stronghold Confessor can be pretty solid. Menace is potentially even a little bit better with Double Strike and the like. There's also a D'Avant Trapper, which isn't looking too bad at this point either, with Quende and multiple Jousting Lances. Actually, a lot of the cards in our deck are already triggering that. Dark Bargain is fine, but I think it's not exceptional. I think we'll take the Trapper here. And Adamant Will's a pretty good pickup. This is a late Mammoth Spider, a late couple of Mammoth Spiders. Kind of a late Journey Mage there. We maybe could have had something with the Wizards deck, although... And I'm not necessarily married to black here, although Arbad is a pretty nice pickup there. I guess I'll take Charge out of this pack. Not really something I'm looking to play. Arctic Wanderer, if we get really, really deep on Historic, can get there, I guess. I guess Champions is kind of with the same argument. None of these cards are particularly good that we're missing out on here, though. Adventurous Impulse. It's kind of late. Okay. So a Tempest Djinn is probably not the direction we were able to go here. A lot of good blue in this pack. Blink of an Eye, Academy Drake. I think we're just going to take Urgaros and not be too unhappy. We're a little bit high on the curve here, but we definitely have some good payoffs to go along with Historic if we do pick up some cards that care about Historic. And Urgaros isn't bad for that. Sort of nesting into that same theme. So there's another Jousting Lance. Man, do we want 3? Probably not. There's also a Dub, but I think the Dub is just basically always going to be worse than Jousting Lance. There's an Adeliz. If we'd gone deep into the Wizard deck, that would have been pretty sweet. We could take Sheevan Fire, I guess, and maybe think about abandoning Black. Although I think our Black is pretty solid here. If that's the case, what am I taking? Another Jousting Lance? Would we play 3? We'd have to get like more Quende, more stuff to go along with it. Dreadshade's fine. We're looking to be heavier on white than black, though. And this card is less exceptional if you're playing it on turn like 6 or 7. It's not terrible then, but it's not absurd either. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm just going to take Sheevan Fire and maybe hedge my bets just a little bit. Can't see myself playing a 3rd Jousting Lance. Yeah, I'm really regretting not taking that Baird. That's okay. Okay, Blessed Light's pretty nice pickup here. I would like a Skin Witch or Memorial Folly as well, but Blessed Light is just very premier removal. Happy to see it. Hey, Deathbloom Thalad's good too. Still seeing some good like red around, but... And a Narumeha. Yeah, we could have probably done some sweet stuff if we'd been in Wizards. It didn't feel like as open over the first couple of picks as Black-White did, but we'd have gotten paid off pretty impressively this pack. Lich's Mastery. I don't think we're on board for a Lich's Mastery, although I'd like to do that someday. There's a Windgrace Acolyte, which I've been fairly impressed with. A Soothsayer, which is worse if we don't have a lot of like creatures to go along with it. I'm not seeing tons of those. Card is fine. Probably take the Windgrace Acolyte, honestly. This card has impressed me kind of time in, time out. There's a Serra Disciple, which is, I guess, technically a historic payoff, but not a particularly good one. There's also Yargle, which I guess giving Devil Strike to is the real deal. Come on, we want another Quende in this deck, really. But we'll take Yargle, sure. Okay, Lingering Phantom's quite good here. This is a legitimate payoff, and we do have a lot of historic cards that we can play. So I'm happy to have Lingering Phantom. Dark Bargain, again, is something I'm happy to see, but I think the Phantom is just a little bit better. Okay, we're looking for some like earlier curve fillers, and both Sergeant at Arms and Cabal of Angel are okay for that. I think we're going to take the Sergeant at Arms. I think it's a little bit more powerful in general, despite the fact that we're not really seeing any 2-drops in our deck so far. I think this format can get away without playing 2s, and Sergeant at Arms is not exciting, but not bad either. Nothing here I'm really looking to play. Demonic Vigor can be an interesting like sideboard card against a really burn-heavy sort of removal deck. Also got like Sulfuran Void, I don't really know. Also, like, all these are sort of playable sideboard cards. I guess we'll take Healing Grace. I don't really want to play any of these, but maybe sometimes they'll manage to sneak in. Blessing of Bells Unlock actually ends up being an okay trick with as many historic cards as we have. Take Rat Colony as a potential 2-drop. I guess we'll keep it in the main for now. Dredge Sentinel, not great. Soul Salvage actually late. I think we could definitely play that. Okay. Ooh, and what a pickup right here. Although, before we go any farther, I feel terrible. I forgot. I usually try and do it around the second pick. I'm sure you guys are used to it. But thank you so much for being part of the channel. You guys are the absolute best. I say it every video, and that's just still not enough. All the support that you guys show, like time in, time out, it just means an awful lot to me. Thanks to everyone that subscribed to the channel. It really helps other people find me on YouTube. Thanks to everyone that likes and comments on every video. Helps those videos really get to the top of the search results. I love to see the community grow. You guys are really exceptional. Like, I just cannot say that enough. Thank you so much. I've had a couple of people recently reach out to me on Twitter. I don't know if that's something that, if I'm a little bit more active on Twitter, something you guys would be interested in. Let me know about that in the comments. I've never really done a good job of keeping that up to date, but if that's something that a lot of you want to see, I'm really happy to try and produce content and put it out there as well. Also, last but not least, not in this video, but in the next video, I'm going to have something kind of special to announce. Not a super huge big deal. Don't get your hopes too high, but it is cool. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you guys, and for now it'll be a mystery. Ooh. Okay, magic. We got Helm of the Host. That's awesome. We're going to take Helm of the Host. I still haven't played with this card. I got run over by it like in my first or second draft in the format. It was really early on. Helm is just great. Call of the Cavalry actually is, I think, a little bit closer than it might immediately appear, but I think Helm is just better. And Banalish Honor Guard might wheel. We'd probably play it in this deck. We probably need a couple more 2-drops, and this has the potential to be like a 3-2 or a 4-2, not super regularly. Yeah, Helm of the Host is great. What a pickup. Oh man, an Ariel? Oh man, we are getting paid off, guys. This is awesome. Yeah, we are slamming that Ariel, and it's not close. That is the second Tayoba we've seen just in this pack alone, and Slimefoot. Like, there's some good uncommons here, but whew, yeah, Ariel is the nut. So we're coming down a little bit off our super exciting first couple of packs there. We're going to take a Knight of New Benalia out of this. Don't think we want a second Soul Salvage, and I could see matchups where we'd want the Knight. It's also a little bit better going along with Ariel, I suppose. There's another Lingering Phantom here. Also some more like cheap 2-drops. I think I'm tempted to take the Lingering Phantom. We're really kind of low on removal, unfortunately, despite this being a color combination that frequently has lots of removal. And we may need 2-drops quite a bit. This card just seems so good in what our deck's shaping up to be right now. I really don't think I can resist another Lingering Phantom. Pretty greedy, though. It's pretty greedy. Probably take the Banalish Honor Guard at this point. Maybe should take Dauntless Bodyguard. There's maybe not that much of a difference between these cards early game. This does die to Fungal Infection, which is downside, but it has a much better late game than Banalish Honor Guard does, because, you know, we play like our Arvod or something, then we play the Dauntless Bodyguard to pump it up. Or I guess to keep it alive. Or even like Ariel, for instance. So I think I'll take the Bodyguard here. And it being a 1-drop is not irrelevant too. But I guess if this costs 2, I think it would probably still be better 2-drop than the Honor Guard. Nothing real exciting here. Definitely don't want Feral Abomination. Just already have too much high up in the curve as it is. Let's take Divest. Reasonable sideboard card in some matchups. Dark Bargain, or we'll take Servant or Knight. I guess I probably want the Bargain the most. Yeah, I'm a little bit worried with how we ended up on removal. That might be our biggest, like, failing in this deck. But we got some really good stuff there towards the end, too. I don't know if I can complain too much. Yeah, again, not much. I guess Tragic Poets, maybe a sideboard card. Blessing. I do want to hopefully see some of those 2-drops come back around, but maybe we're not going to. I was pretty greedy. I figured some would come, but not really looking like it here. Whole lot of random sideboard derpy stuff there right at the end. Okay, yeah, we're going to be pretty light on 2-drops. We may have to play Rat Colony, which is never something you're looking to do. I guess let's pull it out into the deck view here. So as it stands, what are we sitting at? 41 playables. We're actually not that massive on playables. So playing one Blessing of Bells and Lock actually seems okay, given the fact that we have 1, 2... This make legendary creatures? No, it unlegendaries things. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 legendary creatures, as is. I think we do need to play pretty much all the 2-drops we've seen. We'll play Dauntless Bodyguard, Knight of New Benalia, and Rat Colony, just have something to do early on. Maybe Blessing gets cut. We have 2 Jousting Lances. How many creatures did we end up with? 17? Okay. Bardic Wanderer's sort of mediocre. Guardians of Koilos is also sort of mediocre. Do we have a Historic Permanent we want to return? Not really. Guardians actually might just be the worst thing then. It's also a little bit higher up on the curve, whereas at least Blessing of Bells and Lock does something early game. Yeah, I think this deck has a fair amount of inevitability, which is why I'm a little bit concerned just the lack of removal in general. Like, Lingering Phantom, Ariel, Helm of the Host means that we are gonna get good stuff going. But this deck is really missing that Vicious Offering that we saw early on. Yeah, that Firefest Depth looks awfully silly with where we ended up, but that's okay. It is what it is. Do we want to play anything else here? Dark Bargain could definitely make the cut. Maybe over Yargle. Yargle's mostly just good with Jousting Lance if we have Quende on the battlefield, and then it's absurd at 11. I guess with First Dragon just in general, it's pretty nasty. It's pretty expensive too. I think it's a little bit more Doom Nothing than a lot of the other cards we've got going on. I don't really want to cut the early stuff, so I guess Yargle bites the dust. Maybe we should just take out Partick Wanderer. Nah, Yargle's just sweeter than Partick Wanderer, right? It's just gotta be. I want to get that Jousting Lance going. We Jousting Lance it, Quende in the battlefield, Blessing of Bells unlock, and boom, we gain, what is that, 26? Oh yeah, that's too good to pass up. So, Dark Bargain. Where are we at? We are currently at, oh yeah, we're adding one more. So we're making room for Dark Bargain. I couldn't remember if we'd cut something else already. Okay, so with that we've got 40. We're a little bit heavier on black than white recommended. Do we actually like that? I'm not gonna go quite that heavy, I don't think. Let's add in one more planes. I think we're actually a fairly even split. Like, yeah, we're just maybe ever so slightly heavier on black with things like Urgoros, but for the most part, I actually don't think this is like a super, like, mana aggressive deck. Yeah, Quende's going to be our all-star with 2 Jousting Lances, but I mean, we have enough other stuff to throw around that I don't think it's going to be terrible either. If we just stick on like a Lingering Phantom or Yargle, it's going to be pretty good as well. This deck is slow. I could definitely see us getting run over. Don't have much removal. We're going to be soft early game plays, but if we can play for a long game, we got a great long game. I'll see you guys for match 1. Alright, we are back for match 1 here. And man, this hand looks like a hand that we're going to see a lot in this deck, unfortunately. A lot of expensive cards. We're going first. I think I honestly need to mulligan this, which is a tough spot to be in, but we just have no early play. We're not even guaranteed to get up there in lands. And it really hurts tossing back a 2-lander, because I feel like the vast majority of decks want to be able to play that, but we have one Jousting Lance, which doesn't do anything, and a whole bunch of 5-drops. It's a tough spot to be in. Okay, I think this hand is better. We want to find black pretty desperately for Ariel, but if we do, that'll give us something to do with our mana, even if we don't necessarily get up into the higher regions. We do have an Eye of New Benalia. Let's go ahead and keep this. Not in love, but don't hate either. We're going to put Rat Colony on the bottom, so we can't even play it if we don't find a swamp anyway. And I don't know, maybe that should have been a keep, but it feels like there are a lot of ways that first hand can go wrong. And, you know, I think this deck is powerful, but it's got its problems. Like, we're light on early plays, especially early powerful plays. Knight of New Benalia is not usually something that you're writing home about. Dark Bargain, not a great draw, but we still have one more shot at finding a black source. Well, I guess we need to find 2 more lands, hopefully one of which is a black source. But Knight really does kind of pair up poorly against a lot of the stuff in the format. Fungal Infection, for instance, would just be a disaster here. Okay, Green-Blue. Green-Blue actually is probably not a bad matchup for us, since it tends to be a little bit slower, and also tends to be a little bit light on, like, removal of their own, so they might not be able to get rid of something like Ariel. Okay, Untamed Kabu is good, but I am happy to see them play it now. I really don't think we're winning... Yeah, I really don't think we're winning a game that is like a beatdown match. We've got a lot of good, like, top end if we find lands. I'm just gonna not attack here and try and trade off for the Kavu. If they have a trick or something, it's kind of bad, but if they have a trick or something, we're not really winning that race anyway. So, we're not looking great here, but let's see if we can't play as clean as possible and give us a shot back into this game. Okay, Grow from the Ashes. A excellent card. It's kind of a long-term problem for us, but not a short-term one, which is good. Plains, interesting. I don't think that Plains is the most common splash, but could be for things like Seal Away. There are good targets for sure. Okay, no attack. Unfortunately, we're just gonna have to ship it back again here. Yeah, I don't know. I guess the first hand wasn't all that different than this, though. Okay, let's see if my opponent wants to make a swing here. They seem pretty content to just move up the curve as well. We are going to trade, like, Knight of New Benalia. My opponent gets to get in for 1 extra point of damage because of the 1 toughness, but I don't think this is real likely to have a much better interaction. Green creatures that my opponent's going to be playing on turn 4 are usually just going to be bigger than that, and I don't want to take 2 forever. Even Sentry. Pretty solid card. Okay, we did find a Swamp. That's a great draw. And we did find Death Bloom Ballad a couple turns ago, which I did not talk about at the time, but if we're going to be drawing a non-land, Death Bloom Ballad's a pretty good one. Okay, and I mean, if we land Ariel, my opponent can't answer it. Ariel will start making value. We only really need one more land to maybe just kind of be back in this game, despite having a pretty slow start. Even Sentry is a problem because we, again, just don't have too much removal in this deck, but we do have Winggrace Acolyte, which you can trade with it, and Urgros. It really comes down to it. So it's interesting, the Grow from the Ashes did go and find white, and then they played Even Sentry, so it looks like the splash is actually blue, which means it's probably more likely to be a splash for something like Tatyova, which is quite good. Finding Swamp there, fantastic. Really happy to see that. We're going to play Ariel, and not going to attack. And start making some soldiers, probably. Maybe we would play Dark Bargain next turn to try and find another land source, so that we can get Winggrace Acolyte on time soon. It's a little bit unfortunate that none of the cards in our hand are actually other knights. We don't have too many knights in the deck, so Ariel's really going to have to be a one-person army when she gets going. Opponent could bluff an attack here. Is not going to. Okay, that makes my choice. Well, they're still thinking about it. Yeah, is not going to. I definitely would block with the Death Bloom Ballad. Might block with Ariel. My opponent didn't do it with a whole lot of confidence, but sometimes that can be a bluff in and of itself. Okay, my opponent sat in their hands for a long time and then played Gaia's Blessing. I don't even remember what this card does. I think that's the first time I've seen it cast. Target player shuffles up to 3 target cards from the graveyard into the library, draw a card. So they just cycled it. When it's put in your graveyard from your library, you shuffle your graveyard. I found a Quende here, which is perfectly fine. Is it a knight? It is a knight. That's a little bit interesting. So if we found another knight, I guess we could start shooting things, although we're still a little bit off. Kind of tempted by Dark Bargain, because I really do want to get the Winggrace Acolyte into play. So maybe we just pass. And I want to find land drops. I think we Dark Bargain right now. Try and get the Acolyte into play. Quende is good and everything, but we need to answer this Even Sentry before too long. I think that's the correct line. Gaia's Blessing. How odd. Okay, we're choosing 2 here. I don't think the Trapper's particularly fantastic. The Soothsayer does block okay, though. So let's take Swamp and Soothsayer here. Trapper's not terrible, but not great compared to some of the other stuff we got going on. We could swing with Ariel and just offer to trade. That doesn't seem absurdly good. Especially like with Blessing of Bells and Lock in the deck. Maybe having the out to draw that and just gain a bunch of life is pretty powerful too. Don't think we want to swing with Ariel. Ordinarily that's not... Oh, interesting. Okay, they're going all in on this Even Sentry. So hopefully the Winggrace Acolyte can get us where we need to go. Arbor Armament's not a particularly exciting card. Ordinarily, I wouldn't even consider trading Ariel off with the Knights, but we have so much beef in our hand already that I think just maintaining like the board states may be important. We really don't want my opponent to play something like Song of Freyalise and have all the Knights just turn into massive threats. Or even just find like a solid removal spell for Ariel. So this can't kill anything right now. We are going to get hit by the Even Sentry, we can go down to 7. We'll play a Winggrace Acolyte, go back up. Would like to draw a land, because then I'd like to be able to play Urgros the turn after, probably. I think we will make the slightly less mana efficient play, because Urgros is so much better in play than Winggrace Acolyte is. Maybe that's not correct. Oh, yeah, we're just taking damage. I should just end the turn here. I'm not actually... Don't have any capacity to do anything. Okay, there's Tatyova. It's a problem. That's a problem. I think we play Winggrace Acolyte, try and trade with the Even Sentry, and just have to respect the fact that Tatyova is going to get some good value going forward. Yeah, man, Tatyova is just a great card. But yeah, I think we're going to play the Winggrace Acolyte. Yeah. And have to hope that... Okay, pitched some fine cards, but nothing exceptional. And no attacks. We'll end the turn. Should have kept him black there on the off chance my opponent plays something with 0 power. Can't think of really anything in the set. I guess it was that wall, but One's probably not playing that if they have any lick of sense. Tatyova's just such a good value engine. We have good hand, though, and, like, really can prey on this, I think, in the late game. My opponent has an answer for the Windgrace Acolyte. It's going to be a little bit bad for us. We can still play Urgaros, though. Is Ariel better than Tatyova? That's probably arguable. Tatyova, I think making a 2/2 Knight is better than drawing a card and gaining a life every time you get a land, but you have to pay mana for it, and that's a real cost, too. Opponent offering the trade with Aven Sentry, or at least considering it. I would be happy to trade. Okay. And I don't think my opponent's got a combat trick. They weren't playing previously like they had one. I think if they did, they definitely would have been trying to trade off for Ariel. So got rid of Aven Sentry. My opponent did opt to trade down, which is kind of interesting. Could mean they have another powerful flyer. Okay, Primordial Worm's definitely big. So we could play Arvad the Cursed, make Ariel into a 6/6. This is a knight. We could play Kwende. We could play just Lingering Phantom and say, hey, we're just going to try and trade. If we can play expensive cards, eventually we can play Kwende and like make a knight on a turn. So I think that's pretty good. Getting going with Urgaros would also be pretty nice, but I think next turn we just have to set up for a good block. So let's play the Lingering Phantom and just pass here. We are still, I think, behind. Tatyova just providing a lot of good value, and my deck doesn't really have a lot of good answers. But we did survive the early game. My opponent doesn't have any flyers beating us down. And we even fought through a pretty tough, like, first 3 or 4 turns. So this isn't going terribly. Okay, if Primordial Worm comes in, we'll definitely go ahead and trade these guys off. Okay, opponent swing, as expected. Again, I wouldn't expect a combat trick here, although I don't think this attack is, like, terrible just on its own either. My opponent kind of gets a 2-for-1, although Lingering Phantom will be back eventually, and Deathbloom Valid doesn't give us no value. If they have a trick, if they've drawn one, it's obviously going to be pretty solid here, or just a removal spell. Although we can still play Arvad next turn, and could bring back the Lingering Phantom. Ooh, there's Helm of the Host. Do we have that sort of time? Making a new Ariel every turn seems pretty stupid. When it's kind of unlikely to be able to really remove it. And we're not getting beaten down too aggressively. We're just going to go for that at this point. Play Helm of the Host, start swinging with Ariel tokens. Arvad. Oh man. There's so much value, so much greed that could be gained here. You could also just play Arvad and maybe get Helm of the Host going later. Helm is so bad if they have removal, even though it seems like stupidly sweet. Could just play Urgaros, start pecking in and taking apart my opponent's hand. Again, they don't really seem to have a great answer on the ground. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe getting Arvad into play and swing with Ariel's not bad. So if we attack with Ariel, realistically block, they have to put a bunch of stuff in the way. Oh, they have so much mana, too. Kind of want to get Lingering Phantom back, but we have actually so many historic cards. I'm not sure we need to get that value. I think I'm just going to play Urgaros here. Try and pick apart my opponent's hand. And this also doesn't play into removal as badly as Helm of the Host does. Because even though I don't think my opponent's got anything for Ariel, if they did like draw something off the top or just find a way to answer that, we end up being really, really far behind really, really quickly. Yes, I'm not sure what my opponent's got in their hand. It's possible that we just opened up like Pierce the Sky or something. Is that what the card's called in this set? I think it is. All of a sudden I'm thinking that's from Ixalan, but I think I'm not nuts. I think it's Pierce the Sky. I really don't know what they could have, though. So my opponent passed with nothing. Still gaining mana and drawing cards off Tatyova. Got all the mana in the world and tons of cards. Like, they've got to have plays here. No attacks. Opponent very slowly passing through their turn. Wow, okay. No play. Again. What does my opponent have? It's got to be something, right? Yeah, man, I really don't know. I think I'm just going to play Arvad. Try and get in there with Urgaros. Like some sort of flash shenanigans that they have. Oh man, the auto tap. Oh man, the auto tap. Oh, the cringe. Well, that's unfortunate. We were going to bring back Lingering Phantom that turn. Again, with as much Historics we have in our hand, it maybe doesn't matter, but I don't know why it defaulted to Plains there. I guess I should have been more careful tapping mana, though. Arena does get you every now and again like that. That is one disadvantage. Well, we got some pretty big stuff going on now. I don't know, I was going to say I think we swing with Tatiova, but it feels like my opponent's just got to have like some sort of trick. We've got so much follow-up, even if they have a trick, is it that bad? I'd be really happy trading Ariel for Tatiova. Guess we're just gonna go for it. And this deck is so greedy. I just look at our hand, it's like all 5 and 4 drops. Our deck's good, but we have so many expensive cards. Okay, opponent does have the seal away, so they can get rid of Urgaros that way, which is very solid for him. Does not answer Ariel. And opponent just takes it. Fair enough. So if we find a land, next turn we can play Quende and start sniping knights with Ariel, which is pretty good. One gets to gain another life, draw another card. If we're ever feeling particularly brave, we could try for Helm of the Host. It might just be great on Ariel. It feels like my opponent does not have like a Blessed Light, does not have an answer, and we are a little bit more stabilized now. But it also sort of seems like maybe we just don't need to take that risk. Like we've got pretty good stuff in hand already, and Helm of the Host could lead us to a place where we lose the game as well. Why is my opponent playing anything? This is so weird. They just have like endless sealaways or something. Okay, Soul Salvage isn't bad, although I'm not really sure what we're grabbing with it at this point. I guess we don't even need the land. We need the land to make something else. So I guess let's play Quende and have the option to shoot knights at this point. Quende is also just pretty good with Arvad. Sure. Yes. Oh man, again. I need to be more careful with my tapping. That's twice in a row this has really punished us. We're not going to bring back the Lingering Phantom because I want to have Ariel up, but yeah, that card should definitely be in our hand. I'm just going to swing with Ariel, not going to bring in Arvad, and going to plan on tapping it down to shoot a knight either on my opponent's turn or now. Although I guess if we do that, that taps down our defenders too. Still feels like it would be pretty good to have that option. How does this work? Tap X knights you control. Okay. So it's part of the cost, so if my opponent were just to like remove a knight in response, it actually doesn't do anything. Okay. We'll end the turn. I think we're getting pretty far ahead. I mean, Quende is going to be pretty tough for my opponent to answer at this point. I don't know, they've got 7 cards in hand. They've got to have something, right? The only thing I can think of is if they're like a truly base green deck and they just cannot find their last color of land and like maybe they have a bunch of splash cards. I'd say they're like sandbagging Phyrexian Scriptures or something, but they're not in black. Urza's Ruinous Blast doesn't work because all of our creatures are legendary. Frozen Druid, okay. They kicked that, although they could have done this turns ago. So it's either they just drew that or... Yeah, I'm at a loss. And Llanowar Scout. Okay. Sure. I'll let my opponent go to combat. If they want to attack, we'll allow it, although I don't think they're going to into this board. Can't quite kill Tatiova at this point, although we are getting closer. Okay, and we're just going to go ahead and tap down Ariel and blow up the Krosan Druid, I guess. Kill that. Tap Quende and Arvad. A Blessing of Bells unlocks, pretty solid. Play Yargle and just make a massive threat. Finally get back Lingering Phantom, perhaps. We are going to swing with Quende and Ariel, I think, this turn. Kind of want to have a Blessing. I guess there's no reason to play stuff before combat this time around because we don't have a Knight. So let's swing with those two. Ariel can snipe a Knight at this point and still have Blessing of Bells unlock, and that would be it would still mean that Ariel is able to swing through even if my opponent were to block with literally everything here. Okay, no blocks for my opponent, looks like. So they're getting hit pretty hard. What's our best defensive line? Probably Yargle hold up Ariel still. Sure. No. Why do you do this to me? There we go. Then we have Blessing of Bells and Lock as well. We are not going to return the Lingering Phantom. I'm so sorry, man. You should have been in our hands so many times over here. But I think having Ariel available to blow up a knight or something is just going to be a little bit better. Given what we've got in our hand already. Blessing of Bells and Lock is also pretty nice. I don't know, maybe that's silly. A Lingering Phantom in the long run is definitely going to be better than a knight. And we are burning through our historic cards. Like, we don't have an endless supply of these. Although, we do have a lot of legendaries in the battlefield. I'm not sure I've ever seen a limited format or there's 5 legendaries between the two sides. Okay, the opponent can put a land on the battlefield, which ordinarily does not do much, but Tatyova draws them a card, and you gain a life off of it. That's not nothing. Yep. Resolve. What are they digging for? This is a weird game, guys. Sylvan Awakening. Okay. Are we dead? Probably not quite, thanks to Blessing of Bells and Lock. Okay. Sylvan Awakening's good, though. So my opponent's got 1, 2, 3, 4... Is that another 7? Oh, maybe we are dead. And we're gonna gain a lot of life off Yargle. Blessing of Bells and Lock is gonna do some work. Let's see. That's 14... 18, 22. I guess those all end up getting blocked. That's pretty sweet. My opponent's Sylvan Awakening is like, oh yeah, easy game. We're gonna get a pretty sweet Blessing of Bells and Lock. Unless they have removal in response somehow. Let's go ahead and go to blocks. Block like that. We're obviously gonna block all the things that can die. This is really hard to see what's going on. So at this point we're letting through 14... My opponent has no lands available, so they can't do anything else. There's 9 total lands, that's 18 total damage. We're going to gain a bunch. I don't think it... I'm a little bit worried I'm miscounting. I want to put the Sapperling in front. I want to put the Sapperling in front just because I'm terrified here. Okay, so let's go ahead and block. Blessing of Bells and Lock on the Yargle for that sweet 13 life point gain. Oh, that feels so good. We said that we wanted it to happen, and it's totally happening. Okay, and my opponent is just super dead at this point. I guess we'll let Yargle do the honors. Good boy, Yargle. Good boy. Okay, that was a pretty sweet finish to the game. That game took forever, but that was a pretty sweet finish. Especially after our slow start. Man, what's my opponent doing over there? I just really don't know. I wonder if Blessing of Bells and Lock is just good in this deck. The life gain maybe is just really significant. We do have a lot of... I mean, we're playing basically all of them that game. Yeah, maybe I'm just skewed a little bit by that one thing. I think we do want our early plays. Maybe I cut a Lingering Phantom. They do get worse in multiples, since a lot of times you can't spend all the mana to bring them back. But they're quite good as a 1 of, too. Soothsayer seemed fine. I think I'm going to cut 1 Lingering Phantom. I'm actually going to bring in Divest. I hadn't really been counting for this, but this is, like, bad removal in a pinch, too. Like, a lot of times you play this early and you can snipe something that you would have needed to use Blessed Light on anyway. So maybe let's keep that in. And I can actually see Blessing of Bells and Lock just being good in some matchups, but I think for this time we're just going to keep the Divest. Okay, my opponent went all the way to time again on sideboarding. I don't know if they're having connection issues or just what exactly is going on. I think I'm going to keep this hand. It is another 2-lander, but we have 3 drops within range and we're on the draw, so all of that I think helps us out a little bit. Let's go ahead and keep. Okay, opponent starting off with a forest. And we found a swamp, which was gotta be just like the best draw we could have. Actually, that might have been our lag a little bit there that time. Maybe I need to reset my router or something. Maybe I'm putting too much blame on my opponent. Hasn't really felt like we've lagged, but I'm not sure exactly how Arena handles that too. Hey, Llanowar Scout. On turn 2 is definitely the best time to have a Llanowar Scout. We want to play Dauntless Bodyguard. Bodyguard doesn't match up particularly well against the Scout. We are going to have plays later on. I wonder if actually having the Indestructible Clause is more valuable. Probably not going to have anything great to play on turn 4. On the other hand, we could play it and get it back with Soul Salvage, maybe. I think I'm going to sandbag it. I think we're going to sandbag it. I'll take 1 point of damage from my opponent. Well, on the other hand, they're very likely to play like a 4 next turn, which maybe we couldn't block without Dauntless Bodyguard. I lied. Let's play it. Slightly better tempo. We do maybe lose out on having the Indestructible later on in the game, but I don't think that's a huge, huge loss. Well, it looks like they're maybe stuck on green, although green did seem to be their, like, primary color source last game. Llanowar Scout gonna work its magic here. Grow from the ashes. Llanowar Scout looking less magical all the time here. Still just going and getting planes. Okay. Ooh, Jousting Lance. First time we've actually seen that card, but not unhappy to see it. We're gonna play the Avenant Trapper this round. Obviously, no great attack with the Dauntless Bodyguard. I guess we could go for it with Blessing of Bells and Luck and play like the Joust or something, but that doesn't seem great. We'll play the Trapper, and it's possible next turn. We're probably just playing Sergeant at Arms, but it's possible we play Jousting Lance and bash in for a couple points here. So my opponent is going to have, well, I was going to say is going to have 5 mana. They must have just had to have drawn that, otherwise I assume you'd play it with the Llanowar Scout. Unless you're really, really confident that you wanted to be able to block the Bodyguard. Okay, Call the Cavalry is very solid. Means we're likely to play Sergeant at Arms next turn just for the 2-3 body, since it does line up so very well against those knights. All the Benalia cards are just gorgeous. I love all the stained glass sort of look. Okay, Helm of the Host is good in general, but we do need to find some more lands before we really get there. We're just going to play Sergeant at Arms at this point. And pass. So this was a faster draw for us, but also a little bit less powerful draw, which I guess makes sense. Lower in the curve means a little bit less oomph. In Helm of the Host, all we need is like a bunch of trappers to get going, and that'll be a good game in a hurry. Okay, Gaia's Blessing, shuffling some cards back in. Pretty much always okay if my opponent's playing Gaia's Blessing. Like I said, I think this is the first time I've seen it in the format, actually. My opponent wants to get in, we'll definitely be like, hey, do you have a combat trick? Because if you don't, Sergeant at Arms will eat somebody. Looks like no attacks from my opponent just yet. Land? Cool. So, what can we do with land here? It's swing with Blessing of Bells and Luck, or we can play Jousting Lance or Helm of the Host. I think Helm of the Host just has the highest upside for sure, and we're on a board position with enough creatures that if we find a land next turn, I'm probably just going to jam it. I guess we can tap something. Doesn't really matter too much. The Trapper's not going to get in here. But Helm of the Host, my opponent doesn't have some sort of answer, is going to get the job done. Nothing equipped to it quite yet, unfortunately, but soon. Soon, my Helm. Okay, another Call to Cavalry. So if we find a land, that means the Helm of the Host is going to resolve, but that's a lot of knights. Come on, land. We'll start making 2-3s, probably. It's a little bit interesting. Maybe we want the Trapper more. Okay, we did find a land. That is fantastic. Trapper's better with Historic, but I actually think the 2-3 body might be better against all these knights. I think we're just going to assume we probably have the long game short up, so I'm going to stick it on the Sergeant at Arms here. And we're just going to pass the turn. I actually don't even think we're going to attack with the Helm. Trading 1, 2, 3 for the knights isn't great. I think we, again, want to shore up our defenses just a little bit. I don't know, maybe we could. Maybe the way we lose at this point is my opponent finding a big bomb, and so maybe we want to play it as quickly as we can. Although I guess Sergeant Arms doesn't swing past Llanowar Scout then. Okay, defense it is. Maybe should have thought about that a little bit more carefully. Okay, so next turn we can play Jousting Lance and equip it up. And start picking off some more stuff. Oh wow, another Call to Cavalry? That's pretty funny. This is a premier common, that's a lot. I guess maybe they shuffled it back in with the Gaia's Blessing and found it again. But having 3 of those in your deck is nothing to sneer at. Makes the 2-3s awfully nice, though. Alright, no play for my opponent. We could play Arvad instead of the Jousting Lance. And Arvad doesn't do tons on his own. I actually think I might be more online for Jousting Lance. Then we can equip up like Sergeant at Arms and start bashing in. Start eating our way through these guys. Let's see, how do we lose this game? We lose this game by opponent having A, a really good bomb, or B, Sylvan Awakening at some point to hit us for a lot. I think I want to start getting in. I think I'm just not that unhappy about this. I guess we'll tap down Llanowar Scout. Since tapping down one of the knights really doesn't matter much, and I guess that gives my opponent ever so slightly less options. And we are just going to equip with the Dauntless Bodyguard, I think, and let it start going to town. Okay, and let's attack with our Bodyguard. I think that'll just be it. Between the Helm and the Jousting Lance, we can just kind of start abysing my opponent, probably. And opponent just happy to take it here, fine by me, and we'll pass back. Yeah, I think we must be having some connectivity issues too, because honestly, even though it feels like I'm waiting for my opponent a lot in these turns, we're roping just as often, so. On the other hand, getting Arvad into play could have meant that we could equip up the Helm of the Host next turn. Maybe that's better, especially considering my opponent's had a lot of life. Okay, Grun the Lonely King puts a little bit of a stop to that. Yeah, maybe we should have done Arvad. The upside of equipping the Helm to it would be kind of stupid. Then just all the Arvads get huge really, really fast. That does seem awfully sweet. Okay, let's play Arvad first so we can tap down with the Trapper, and I am going to get in with the Dauntless Bodyguard again. We'll probably intend to just chump Grun, since I imagine that's what my opponent will swing with. But we do get to hit for a reasonable amount of extra damage here as well. I guess Dauntless Bodyguard just trades for Llanowar Scout then. Yeah, I think actually using Jousting Lance a couple turns ago is probably just bad. Trades for the Scout, but doesn't actually get us anything else. I'm just going to pass. Yeah, that's a mistake, but let's not compound that mistake by making more. This Llanowar Scout just does such a good job of blocking that too. Alright, 2-3s for days. This is Arvad the Cursed, one knight leading an army of Sergeant-at-Arms. Okay, Jousting Lance. Yeah, okay, they can make Grun like the demon attacker, but we have a lot of Sergeant-at-Arms that can chump it for a while, and Arvad the Cursed is just going to get out of hand if my opponent can't answer it. Okay, after a lot of thought, my opponent equipped up the Llanowar Scout and then timed out. If we found a land that turn, we probably would have utilized the Divest, but I think I'm actually just going to re-equip the Helm of the Host here, and let the Arvads start flowing. That seems pretty sweet. My opponent did not swing with Grun, which is probably a good thing for us. So, go to combat, and Arvad will come into play, but it's actually not legendary, right? So, it won't trigger the Davin Trapper. It's kind of interesting. Oh, and this only affects other legendaries, so it's going to make a huge Arvad. Oh, okay, yeah, and I was... Alright. Got a little bit too excited for my own good. That Arvad will get big, though. Eventually we can equip it up with Jousting Lance. Yeah, it's kind of cute. Oh yeah, here's a regular old Arvad now. Can't be all grim and foreboding if there's like 40 of you all in the same room. Okay, so my opponent could still have Seal Away, which makes me a little bit concerned to go for it with Arvad, even though First Strike and Death Touch is just like stupid. I guess we can Divest first and see though, and then try and equip it up. Yeah, and that will get the game over pretty quickly. Okay, let's Divest my opponent. See if they have it. If they don't, we'll go for it with Arvad. We'll equip up the Jousting Lance and swing. If they do have it. Ancient Animus and Seal Away, interesting. Okay, so Animus can kill stuff pretty quickly. Although we actually have Adamant Will available. We're going to take Tatyova. That's kind of unfortunate. My opponent finally found their blue source. So we play Knight of New Benalia. Do we swing with this Arvad? I think we probably do. Just be like, hey, that's alright. Means I guess maybe we swing with both, if that's the case. So if my opponent wants to try and, like, Ancient Animus or Arvad, we can always use Adamant Will to keep it alive. That'll be a pretty nice swing. We just have enough stuff on the table here, though, that I think we just need to start being aggressive. We've delayed this match a long time already. Okay, my opponent goes for it. We've got the brutal counterspell. So, unfortunately, still can't afford to Seal Away swing because we don't want our original Arvad to bite the dust, but We'll swing with the other ones. Finally get to trade off with the Llanowar Scout, so I guess we should just swing with the Bodyguard too then, right? Which means maybe the Trapper should get in. I don't know if the Trapper is going to have a whole lot of more utility. Sure. Let's go for it. Start eating through these knights as quickly as we can. We're going to gain a lot of life though, like... I don't think realistically my opponent has any way back into this game. Urza's Ruinous Blast could go a long way, but even then, Arvod's still alive and he's still equipped up with the helm. Turns out getting a 3/3 Death Touch Lithe Link every turn is pretty good. Even just getting a 2/3 every turn is pretty good, but... Alright, looks like my opponent's going to be happy to just take 7 here, go down to 9, seal away, still unwilling to use it to take... It just does hold back our big Arvod. And if we ever equip... Oh, okay, no, they're using it now. Interesting. Huh. Imagine they want to do that before combat, but... Again, probably not going to end up mattering. So equip up Jousting Lance, swing with Arvod. Be able to either... Well, it's just not that big a deal. Like, if we do that too, my opponent just chump blocks it. Okay, opponent getting in. They have charge. This could be medium bad. It's still just not that bad, I don't think. We just take like 4. We could just like take a bunch of damage here and say we're gonna try and get in. Nah. Charge is like the only thing I can think of that really gets us. And while that would be impressively good for my opponent here, it's not that big a deal. Maybe we should double block a couple of these though then. Play around that. Alright, let's do that. I don't think it's going to matter too much, but we can afford to take some life, and this does play around that one eventuality. Okay. If my opponent had it, they were unwilling to use it. I have to imagine we've just got lethal here, especially with the Rite of Bells and Lock. Okay, actually, let's cancel that and make sure we're going to tap our lands correctly. Because that does seem to have been a problem across these matches. Pop up Sergeant at Arms, go to combat. Attack, my opponent can block 2 of those, it's still just not going to be enough. There we go. I think we can get in with Arvod. Even if they have an answer for it, they can't have an answer for everything else. Alright, looks like we're going to get in for rather a lot of damage, and should finally be able to finish this one off. Well, those were sweet. That was an hour of gameplay before edits, though. That was a long match. Alright, we are back for match 2. This hand is good, and I'm going to go ahead and keep it. My opponent started off with Devil Mountain. They did mulligan down to 6. Can't tell which way they stride because of the way Arena works. Okay. Ooh, Goblin War Chief. This is not a card I think I've seen, actually. 2/2 haste. Maybe with some extra synergies. Yeah, I mean, we're just gonna play the Deathbloom Thallid here. Probably gonna offer to trade with it. We had drawn quite well. That was a nice land drop. We do want to get up to Arvod and eventually up to Lingering Phantom if at all possible. Okay, Keldon Raider's pretty solid as well. Definitely can help you fix the draw after a mulligan. I will trade for the Goblin War Chief. I assume my opponent wants to get in here. Yeah, looks like it. Yeah, we'll block. So we traded, I guess, a Saproling for 2 points of damage. I think that's something I'm usually alright with. Could equip up this with the Jousting Lance, and I guess keep up Blessing of Bells and Lock, but that feels a little bit flimsy. Let's make sure we have our lands for the Rite of Bells or Blessing of Bells and Lock here. Play a Advent Trapper, and plan on have that try and trade off with Keldon Raider if it gets in. And the next turn we've got Arvod, so it's pretty good. My opponent doesn't have removal for Arvad. That's a great carrier for the Jousting Lance, or even just a great, like, stalling card while we try and hit Lingering Phantom. Alright, Frenzied Rage. So on its own, that's still not quite good enough. They'd have to have a removal spell as well. They have Sheevan Fire. It's going to be really, really tempting to go for the Davant Trapper. So my opponent may just legitimately be playing the Goblin War Chief as a 2/2 haste for 3, which is not great. Yeah, we're going to keep this alive. I think this is a really big life swing. Being able to, like, potentially block the Keldon Raider here. Yeah, I think the tempo is just important enough that I'm okay trading that 1 for 1. Especially because my opponent is getting close to just out of gas here. So we could swing. That seems bad. Let's play Arvad, and we'll just pass here. And I would much rather trade those off, so I'm actually not even going to swing at the Trapper. I'm going to try and equip up Arvad with the Jousting Lance and start getting in there, I think. And then the Lifelink looks like it probably will be able to take the game away, considering my opponent's playing things like Frenzied Rage. Okay, Gaia's Protector's a little bit annoying. Okay, found another land. We could just play Lingering Phantom. It's definitely more mana efficient than going for the Jousting Lance. Jousting Lance just seems really good, though. We play the Phantom. It does block fairly well. Jousting Lance just seems really good, though. I think that's going to be very hard for my opponent to answer effectively. Okay, let's go ahead and swing. Okay, and we just get to gain a lot of life there. My opponent can swing next turn and get the Keldon Raider through. We'll go back down to 17, perhaps. But then we get to trade off with the Trapper, and we still have Lingering Phantom coming down, and Blessed Light, so... Okay, my opponent is going for that line, it looks like. It looks like they had a pretty tough draw. They hit a lot of lands, mulliganed already. Okay. And, yeah, can't really do anything else, right? So, happy to trade. Take a hit, but we are definitely off to the races here. I'm going to play Lingering Phantom over Yargle, though Yargle is sweet. Yeah. And I'm going to swing with Arvad, try and put my opponent in a position where they just realistically probably have to block next turn. I want to keep the Saproling back just in case. I don't think that 1 point of damage is going to matter too much, but... Okay, Broken Bond to get rid of the Jousting Lance. Jousting Lance is definitely not bad here. I guess if we had swung with the Saproling, we'd have lethal this turn, because we could Blessed Light and swing. Perhaps some slight misplays. We could still just Blessing Light, go for it. Probably don't need to. I think let's swing with everything, and then play Yargle. I think it's very likely my opponent will let the Saproling through, and if not, we're okay to get some damage as well. Okay. Yeah, I think this really was just a game where my opponent had a rough mulligan. Pay black. And we got the 11-5. Aw, my opponent didn't let us Yargle him to death. That would've been sweet. Okay, well hopefully our next game's just a little bit better. Okay, my opponent seems aggressive. Unfortunately, we're playing pretty much all of our defensive cards that we can already. But maybe cut on like a Lingering Phantom and bring in like a Blessing of Belzenlog. This card does have some good utility with as many legendary cards as we have, because the Life Swing, if it happens, is pretty big deal. Especially against a more aggressive deck. Do we want to cut anything else? I could see bringing in Healing Grace as a not real good trick, but as a not abysmally bad trick. One did look quite aggressive. It might be the Lingering Phantom, and that like is just a little bit too slow. Alright, maybe let's bring in 1 Healing Grace and 1 Blessing of Belzenlog. That's not crazy, right? Probably just a little bit crazy. Or maybe we want a Lingering Phantom, but we cut like Soul Salvage. Soul Salvage is pretty slow. Okay, let's do something like that. That feels good. Alright, looks like my opponent has mulliganed again. Ooh, are we pitching this one? I think we are... It is actually kind of close because we have a couple of 3-drops. But, yeah, a 1-lander I think is just a little bit too risky. Oh, wow. Man, that's not what we were hoping for, though, either, is it? I mean, creatures, we can play them. Oh, man. You guys... Oh, you guys... I hate going to 5 so much. Oh man, I am going to keep this. Maybe it's proof that I just never pitch back a 6-hand or 6-card hand. Oh man, this is so bad. I'm gonna keep. If we find non-lands, like, this hand's just okay, right? Ugh. Soothsayer. Yeah, I mean, I guess we top, but we really don't want to find lands. Hopefully my opponent doesn't have a great aggressive start. We do need a lot of stuff to go right here, but they mulligan too, so... Okay. Another Blessing of Bells Unlocked, not particularly exciting. Opponent playing a Memorial to War, which is not a card I'm in love with. No 3-drop. Okay, Llanowar Scout does not really count. Okay, Dominaria Trapper, great draw, great draw. Probably one of the best in the deck. Pretty much any of our 3-drops would have been pretty exciting there. But Trapper is reasonable. And lets us have a target for our blessings in the future. Valid Soothsayers can help shore up our defenses next turn. And it turns out when you keep a 5-card or a 5-land hand, but then don't draw any more lands, it works out pretty well. So we could potentially go for it here and get, like, trade a Blessing of Bells Unlocked for some Saprolings or the like, but that doesn't let us use the rest of our mana very efficiently, so I'm just going to play the Soothsayer here. Alright, opponent hasn't played anything else. Wow, and no play. Yeah, my opponent has had a rough time of it this match. I think we're going to play Arvad, and I guess, like, tap down the Scout, get in with the Soothsayer? Don't really want to trade off the Trapper. Yeah, especially with a bunch of combat tricks and equipment in hand. Oof. This has not been my opponent's game. Well, Adventurous Impulse is good. That means they're probably going to be able to find a land, hopefully can keep doing something over the course of the next couple of turns. Although they're unlikely to have a follow-up since they probably just drew that. Yeah. Ooh, there's Ariel. So how likely is my opponent to have, like, Wizard's Lightning? Probably not super likely, although maybe not impossible either. I guess we could Blessing, and still play, like, Jousting Lance in that case. So I guess we don't want to use Ariel first. We could tap down the Llanowar Scout and get in, I guess, is the big argument there. But I guess then my opponent doesn't have any particularly good blocks. Okay. So then if they try and Wizard's Lightning, we can probably keep it alive. So let's tap down the Scout. Yeah, Ariel's going to be a house with Arvad in play already. Okay, yeah, well, that is enough for my opponent. Yeah, a fast victory. Hello and welcome back for our match 4. When last we met, it was probably match 1. I suppose if we have a crazy run from here on out, this could be the first match you guys see. Match 2, our opponent mulliganed kind of into oblivion, had kind of aggressive, like aggro deck that just fell apart. And then last game, we mulliganed into oblivion. So neither were particularly showy. I guess hopefully this one's just a little bit better. We are going to keep this. It's a little bit speculative. 2 Lingering Phantoms in the opening hand is kind of bad. Ariel we can't play. But with my opponent going first and having a Sergeant at Arms at least as a 3-drop, I think this is just barely on the side of playable here. Okay, another Plains is really not what we were hoping to see. We really want to find black here. Or just, you know, like 2-drop, something else that we can play. Yeah, Plains number 4 is not fantastic. Okay, Knight of New Benalia, not exceptional, although in a red-white matchup, it actually may end up being pretty okay. A lot of times this is kind of aggressive, and just having a body on the board is nice. Alright, let's see what my opponent's got to follow up here. Okay, Sergeant at Arms. Yeah, our Knight will trade for theirs. Okay, Windgrace Acolyte, another not bad card, but still not a swamp. Still not a swamp. Let's go ahead and attack. Yeah, let's attack. I might be able to convince my opponent to block here, which would be fine with me. Alternatively, Sergeant at Arms might, yeah. I'd rather have a Sergeant at Arms in play if my opponent is blocking there. So, happy with that trade. I'd actually be a little bit less happy, I think, if they'd just taken it, but that wouldn't have been terrible. Okay, Baird. Come on. Okay. Quende is actually a pretty good draw despite not being a swamp. We really want a swamp. Quende has a lot of synergies with this deck, though, and despite the fact that with red-white, there's a very high probability it just dies on the spot. If it does maybe open the path for Ariel in the future, so it's not all bad. Baird getting in there. Yeah, I'm gonna block. Is it Vigilant? Oh, it is. Okay, so it might just be a free roll attack for my opponent. I could double block there, but I really don't want to lose. Okay, Tiana. Tiana is a bit of a problem just because it flies. Could swing with Quende and offer the trade with... Doesn't seem great. Yeah, our lack of swamps is definitely failing us a little bit here. I guess that's what we get for not following Arena's mana suggestion so long ago. Yeah, okay. I think no attack, and I think no play. It does feel bad, though. Tiana just being first striking is pretty tough. Quende just can't attack into that, yeah. And even if we could, we're still just trading for the Baird, which is not great. Ugh. These black cards, how they taunt me. How they taunt me. Yeah, still no attack, I don't think. Fortunately, my opponent didn't really play anything last turn either, which is nice. But they may just be sitting on like a bunch of removal, I don't know. Okay, Aven Sentry's kind of bad. We don't have a whole ton of flyers in general. Well, Adamant Will is enough that I'm gonna try and swing one day at least. I'm happy trading Adamant Will for either of these cards. It probably will just be for Baird, but it's not the end of the world. At least then Quende can start hitting in. Alright. Opponent did not have a removal spell in response. Baird has left the table. We are going down to 8 this next turn. We do need to get the Winged Acolyte on time quickly. And then we're probably going to have to use Blessed Light on Tiana, which is not ideal, but... Hey, Goblin Barrage to kill the Quende. Seems perfectly reasonable for my opponent to go for there. And we have to find Swamp pretty much this turn. I guess if we found Plains, we're not technically dead, but pretty close. Okay, we did find Swamp. Right on time, a little bit late, but right on time. I guess we should swing with the Sergeant at Arms first. No real reason not. Well... That's maybe not true. If they have like Skizix or something, I might regret that. Alright. Pitched Urgaros, which is unfortunate. One of our few remaining flyers, but that's alright. Forebear's Blade. Ooh, that's pretty rough too. So they can... Hopefully we'll just like equip Tiana. Probably should give it to the Aven Sentry and just go for damage here. That is an extra 4. It would take us down to 4. We're still not dead at that point. We get to Blessed Light the Tiana. We have to kill it, though. We can't actually... I guess this doesn't hit artifacts anyway. Okay. Opponent correctly identifying that. I think we're going to be down for the count here. Alright. Ooh, Fervent Strike even. Okay, yeah, we are just, like, crazy dead here. I guess we'll give it one more draw, because you never know, but... Yeah, we are crazy dead. Okay, we're not going to show my opponent the Blessed Light. Yeah, a little bit unfortunate with our lands there. We did keep an all Plains hand, so, I mean, maybe can't complain too much. But hopefully these next ones are just a little bit better. I think we're going to bring in Divest. This is a card that, when we don't have a whole lot of removal, we're maybe not super unhappy to play. I think I've said that in a couple matches now, but I can't remember which ones. Probably kind of Lingering Phantom, especially against red-white. That seems like it's probably more on the aggressive side. Do we want Blessing of Belzenlok? I think that's our other big one. A Healing Grace is also a little bit interesting, since my opponent's likely to have a fair amount of burn. We only saw the one Goblin Barrage. They probably have more than that. Maybe we cut another Lingering Phantom for Blessing. Or maybe we cut Yargle for Blessing. Although Yargle is so good with Blessing, right? So good. Or we could cut one Jousting Lance, maybe. The upside of the Jousting Lance is really high in this deck, though. It's really, really good with Ariel, really good with Quende, really good with Arvad. I think I do want Blessing, but not sure what to cut. I guess Yargle's biting the dust, probably. Rest in peace, sweet Yargle. Okay. Oof, you have to mulligan this one. This might be a short series, unfortunately. But yeah, gotta toss that one back. Oh, man, this hand's maybe even worse. Really do hate going down to 5. Is this a 5-carder, though? I guess we're gonna keep... Ugh. This just feels brutal, though. We need to draw so much good now. Like, these cards are close to just not cards. I think we have to go to 5. Okay. This hand is 5 this hand is fine as 5 card hand go. Go and keep. Gonna bottom that, looking for lands. Maybe my opponent just won't find their second land drop and Rat Colony goes all the way. Dark Bargain probably will get some good work done this game. Yeah. As 5s go, this is a pretty good 5. I don't know if I can rat on it too much. Oh, that's a cute little noise. I think it's actually the first time I played a Rat Colony. Okay, my opponent's probably gonna have some play here. Oh. And we're marching up the curve with lands at least. Let's get in with our Rat Colony. Yeah, I mean, if my opponent's got a slow start, it's not impossible. Slow start might mean things like Tiana, though, and our deck is woefully unprepared to deal with her. Literally the only answer we have is Blessed Light. Or trying to race it. Neither of which are particularly good. Sergeant at Arms does stop the Rat Colony in its tracks. Urgros is not bad. I guess there's no reason to Dark Bargain now since we've already played our land drop, so we'll just pass. That probably means we get to play Arvod next turn, though, which is nice. We will take it if my opponent wants to attack. Looks like they do. Probably means they're gonna have another, like, reasonably sized creature to follow it up. Okay. Rampaging Cyclops definitely counts. Dark Bargain did not find a land. Man, what do I want here? If I want Blessing of Bells and Luck, I guess is the big question, or do I want Divest? Divest potentially snipe something pretty good from my opponent's hand still, although we're kind of hoping to find land still going up the curve, which means I'm not sure we'll have a good spot for Blessing of Bells and Luck either. I think that the life gain might just be better. So let's take Quende and Blessing. Oh, that's really close. Okay. Now Quende's nice even if we don't find a land here, because we can play it. We could play Dauntless Bodyguard, but nah. I think Quende's probably just going to have to get sacrificed to the Rampaging Cyclops here. My opponent swings with both. What do we do then? My opponent swings with both. We can take it. We did take the Blessing here, so we could gain potentially a lot of life off Quende. As much as 8. Maybe we do just take it, actually. We get Arbot into play. It's pretty good with Quende as well. Yeah, I think I'm just going to take it. Rampaging Cyclops. Pretty likely my opponent has some sort of trick or removal. Ikitu Journey Mage. Okay, so we found a land. So we could play Arvod. Just have the big 3/3. This also just turns into a 4/4 double strike then. My opponent has removal. They probably wait for us to block with Quende. Kill off Arvod. My opponent swings for like 6 next turn. We block like Journey Mage, and hopefully still get there with Blessing on a later turn. I think Arvod's still best. If my opponent doesn't have removal, this is just hands down the best. Okay. Oh, that's true. Blessing... Oh no, Blessing does work. I think just no attacks. Getting in for a bunch of damage with Quende is kind of tempting, so we take my opponent down to 10 and then potentially just like blow them out of nowhere. But I think they're going to have some blocker for it. They're not going to be that foolish, I don't think. Very, very likely, I think that Arvod dies this turn. Okay, fight with fire. Yep. Fair enough. It loses sorcery speed, which is kind of nice. Ooh, I'm getting... Oh, okay. I was saying, I'm getting with everything. Okay, I still can't really block this, I don't think. I think I just want to get good value off our Blessing of Bells and Luck. Yeah, alright. Go to 4. Okay, so... can play Jousting Lance but not equip it, play Dauntless Bodyguard and Blessing. I think we have to try and go for the Blessing on our turn. And if we've got this in play, then Quende is very unlikely to get killed in response. Okay, play Dauntless Bodyguard. Choose Quende. Okay, Jousting Lance. And pass. Alright, Quende's just going to gain us some life. And hopefully do some pretty good work along the way. This game, we're behind, but we are not atrociously behind. We've given up a lot of life points to keep Quende in play, so hopefully that ends up being correct. Dauntless Bodyguard does mean this is unlikely to fail. Let's go ahead and go to blocks. Block like that. Like that? Or should we just take 2? If we have to sacrifice the bodyguard, I guess it's bad either way then, right? I think we're just going to block the Rampaging Cyclops and try and gain a bunch of life. Cool. Cool. I'm feeling good about that. Alright. We are blocked. Pretty much no matter what. Okay, Run Amok is good. This game's indestructible, right? So cast Blessing of Belzenlock on Quende. Let's actually turn on full control. I don't want to actually mess this up. Run Amok is good. And Adamant Will. Okay. So that resolves. That resolves. One's going to get through for quite a lot here. Let's, I guess, sacrifice our bodyguard. Keep Quende alive. Yeah, I think we're probably dead here. We do get to gain a lot of life, though. Then take a lot more. Yeah, oof. Okay, end combat. I guess we don't need to be in full control anymore. Okay. Does Ariel really change anything? Still not just dead. Not looking particularly great, but not just dead. Ariel was a good draw. No attacks. We've burned through a lot there, though. My opponent trying to go for it. We trade, I guess, a Dauntless Bodyguard and a Blessing of Belzenlock for a Run Amok and a Adamant Will. Okay, well, Tiana is brutal. I was going to say, we're not actually doing too bad for a mole down to Oblivion, but Tiana's pretty brutal. So, let's see. We can play Knight. We can make a Knight. Next turn we could kill Tiana. If nothing dies, we go to 1 in that instance. Do we have any better line? Don't think so. Knight of Nubenalia was a pretty good draw, I suppose. Problem is... yeah, I think we're going to need something else, because we can make another 2-2. Doesn't do enough. Swing with Ariel. Yeah, I can't really swing with Ariel. Yeah, I think we just have to pass. Brutal. Ugh, dead by Tiana. I guess we... oh yeah, Forebear's Blade. Alright, alright. Yeah, truly crushed. Unfortunate, unfortunate way to end our series here. I mean, I feel like the deck was potentially pretty good. It didn't have much removal, and I think that did cost us quite a bit here in the end. But... oh man. Dead by Tiana. What a way to go. Oh man, we had so much cool stuff though. Helm of the Host, Ariel... just not quite enough to get it done. Just not quite enough. Well, probably, I guess you guys will end up seeing one game where it's just a mulligan into Oblivion, but, well, I guess we'll see whichever one looks a little bit better. As always, thanks so much for watching. I know that wasn't maybe the most exciting finale, but, yeah, it is what it is. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed it. Let's open up some packs. So, still, Dominaria is pretty close to all gray for me, but... yeah, I'm still getting some stuff out of this. Got a rare wild card. Always love my lands. That all feels pretty good. And we can open up a couple of just individual packs for posterity's sake as well. Yeah, Phyrexian Scriptures. Okay, that's a pretty solid pickup. That's nice. One of the few cards that I'm actively still probably looking for a little bit. Karazov, a little bit less so. Okay, there's still no great way to go back and look at your previous decks from draft. So let me just pull up our paint here, and we can talk about the deck just a little bit before calling it. Like I said, overall, I think the deck was pretty solid, but lacking removal, and lacking early game a little bit. I was definitely a little bit greedy towards the end of the draft, and picked up some kind of expensive late game cards like Lingering Phantom, which didn't end up being fantastic for us, or we might have just been better with some more 2 and 3 drops. Ariel definitely showed her fantasticness in one game, and the host did as well. Quende gave us a really good shot at coming back in that last game, although it wasn't quite enough. Got to kill someone with Yargle. There was cool stuff in these matches, even if it obviously a 2-2 record is not what you're hoping for. All the same, though, thanks so much for watching, you guys. It's always a pleasure to have you. I really, really appreciate everyone that comes back to the channel again and again. I'll be back, I guess, on Tuesday, and we'll have a pretty sweet Dominaria draft. I imagine the last Dominaria drafts of the format. It's kind of sad. But that does mean that the core set's coming around after that, and I will be giving you guys some pre-release content on the following Friday, one day earlier than usual. Try and get that out to you guys as soon as the queues open up. Yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.